It was a big month for July. I watched 25 films and TV shows, 3 of which I went to the cinema to see, and I feel like I hardly go to the cinema anymore these days, but I went 3 times. One of them was a really good film. And I also watched 5 films in one day. I don't know what happened with July, I just went insane. But the first thing I watched in July was a TV show called Loot, starring Maya Rudolph. It's 2 seasons. Personally, I wasn't a fan of the first season, but for some reason I just found the second season hilarious. It's basically Maya Rudolph's character has like a divorce or has a breakup and then wins a bunch of money in that divorce, and then she decides what she's going to do with that money, and for some reason I just found the second season way more funnier than the first one. So I'm going to put it good overall because of that. Then I watched the Steve Martin documentary. I think this was new this year, 2024, and it's like a 2-part special, like episode, each one like a film length, like an hour and a half. The first one is then and the second one is now, so it follows like his life back then and what his life is now. And obviously I've grew up with him with his life now. I didn't know his life as him like a budding comedian. I know him more as the actor that he is now, and so I was more interested, like it was interesting learning about like his rise to what he is now, but obviously because I just wasn't that invested in the then, but I was more invested in the now. When he starts talking about things that I've seen, like him as Cheaper by the Dozen would be his most iconic role to me, his most iconic dad role. So I enjoyed when like he had a little mention of that, and also Only Murders in the Building, even though I haven't seen that show. I've been meaning to for the longest time because it's him, Martin Short and Selena Gomez. Love them all, they're great fun. So I'll put it in okay-ish actually. And then I watched a show called The New Look, which follows fashion designers during World War II. So it's like Christian Dior, Coco Chanel, like those are the 2 main ones. And it's based on a true story. Some things may be fictionalized, but I then, because it all sounded so insane to me, I then went to fact check it, and most of it is true, or at least just the main points. Like, I did not know. I was never interested in what these fashion brands did, what they did, but like, but what happened was actually crazy. It was emotional at times, the drama very intense, so I thought this was a great show. Personally, I may later put it up to the best, but that was a really good show, and I would recommend it. I watched a few kind of like war things, World War II things this month. My main like thing why I liked it so much is because it was a new kind of perspective that we're seeing from World War II. Like I've seen 1916, just a man like on the front, and then I've seen like Hacksaw Ridge, I've seen Master of the Air, which is pilots, but this one was like fashion designers, like what they went through. Like I think that was crazy, and with what you see, they are in the heart of it because it's set in France, and it was really good. Then I watched another film called The Family Plan, and it was, you know, fun little comedy. Nothing too good, nothing too bad. I felt like the children were probably more interesting than the parents, because it's like the dad is a secret spy, not telling his family what ensues when like his identity gets revealed. There's bad guys coming after him and whatnot. A little bit of a twist near the end with like who the bad guy is, but the son is a Twitch streamer, so I just thought, oh well, that's quite modern, isn't it? It was okay. And then Finch, a solo Tom Hanks film. I just have a baseline of just generally liking all Tom Hanks films, and this was him, a kind of like end of the world, no one around, Earth is inhabitable, or you can't go out during the day, you can't go out in the sun because it's far too hot, and then there's a robot and a dog. Why are you going to throw in a dog, and why are you going to throw in a robot that learns to, that feels like it's a human? Just always gets me. And the robot kind of reminded me of Chappie, and I think that film is cute, sad. That's kind of how I felt with this. So I thought Finch, quite lovable, great film. Then I watched another documentary, Selena Gomez's one, My Mind and Me, and I thought I was going to like this more than I did. I have mixed feelings because she came across quite negative, and as if like she hates where she is, like how her career's going. I would say Selena Gomez is like the first artist I ever kind of liked or like got into. Like I bought her CDs, I bought her albums. That is mainly because Disney Channel. That's probably why she's like the first one. So I'll always like her and I'll always like her music. I just think like the documentary came across more negative than positive. So I'm going to put it in okay-ish. Then I watched Coda, and there is no question to my feelings for this. The best, one of the best things I've watched this month. Deserving of the Oscar, deserving of Best Picture. Oh my god, it was so bloody good. It follows a girl who is hearing, whereas her parents and her brother are not, and she wants to sing, but she has to stick around. She has to kind of be around to help to like help her family out when they need someone that can translate for them. And oh, it was really good. As soon as I got like 10 minutes into the film, I turned to my sibling and was like, yeah, I love this film. I love it. I do recommend it. It's a little emotional. It's kind of like a coming of age film. It was really good. But then the first film that I watched in cinema this month was A Quiet Place Day One. A prequel, but the third film in the kind of the Quiet Place universe. I like the first two films. The first one probably the better one. A Quiet Place Day One. What it is on the tin, Day One, even though it's mostly like Day Two, Day Three. But it's set in New York, so automatically that is a new fun setting because New York is loud. How are you going to be quiet when you're loud? And it's Lupita Nyong'o, and I love her. I love her. If you've seen her Hot Ones, she's hilarious. I just love her. She's so sweet. She's such a good actress. Everything she's in, she's really good in it. And there's also Joseph Quinn. He's good too. It got emotional towards the end. Wasn't expecting it to be emotional. I'll put it in just behind the new look. Trying season 4. Great. Above Finch. This is really good. I first watched the first 3 seasons of the show earlier this year. Loved it. It's just a British couple wanting to adopt children, their struggles of trying to adopt, and then once they have adopted 2 kids, the then struggles of having children, looking after children. And ooh, let's do a bit of a cliffhanger season 4. So if there isn't a season 5, this show is just like so wholesome, so heartwarming. It's really funny because of the 2 main leads. I think the kids are great as well. The whole family dynamic, everyone who really cares for this couple and these children. I think it's really cute. But kind of the new thing that they introduced in season 4 to end with such a cliffhanger, I need a season 5. Then I watched Billie Eilish's documentary, The World is a Little Blurry. And out of all the documentaries I watched this month, this one is the better one, the best one. I'll put it in front of Loot. Put it in good. I really kind of like the home video feel of it because like a lot of the clips seem to be filmed on a phone. Like it felt very homely. It was more of like kind of Billie Eilish and her family. Like what is her family dynamic like being a singer, kind of rising to fame, how she copes with that more than, I guess maybe like more than the music itself. And it's so crazy how she's so young. Still so young and still so successful. Following on with the music theme, I watched a musical, Come From Away, which was like a professional recording of the stage play, the stage musical, and I thought this was good. I'll put it in front of Luke. You're going to the back, Luke. Come From Away, it follows kind of like a group of people. It's the 9/11 attacks in New York, and it follows a group that were meant to be flying from somewhere to somewhere, but they ended up landing in another place because the planes had to come down, and just kind of the community that rallied around to help these people out, how they felt like living there and during that situation. It was just cute, and the music was good, emotional at times as well. And again, kind of like the new look, an interesting perspective that I've never heard about because this is also based on the true story. Just a different point of view from a kind of a big event you know all about, but just a new perspective of people to look from. And then The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. Jim Broadbent. He's so precious and I love him. The film is literally what it says on the tin. The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. Harold Fry is going on a pilgrimage. He's walking from one spot to another. An old friend is dying and he wants to like see her one last time, and oh my god, it's so good. Did I cry? I don't cry at anything. This film was great. I'm going to put it just behind the new look. Great inspiring story of courage and goodwill, and his determination was very motivational for me. Then I watched this film. I'm not saying anything about it. It was so bad. so bad. There was one slight redeeming quality of it, and it was like there was these two kids in it, or mainly just this one boy, and I just thought he was funny. Other than that, so bad. Then The Lovely Bones. This is a film I've been meaning to get to for a while this year because I read the book right at the beginning of this year, and I thought the film was okay. I'll put it to the front of okay-ish. I liked the film a little more than the book because it helped me understand, like, I feel like we jump about a lot in the book, and I feel like the film's more linear, and it helped me visualize things I couldn't visualize in the book because the book was just a little confusing to me. But it follows a little girl who is sadly murdered, and a little more than that. And then it's kind of her like overseeing like how her family copes with this. It was missing a few key points. A lot of key points from the book. But I guess because I read the book, watched the film, I got kind of a bigger picture, a bigger story than if you were to just watch or read one thing. And then movie 43. Millimeters better than Cocaine Bear. Oh, it was so bad. Oh, like, you know those films where they just get like a bunch of actors. Like this one is like a bunch of like high profile celebrities, actors in this, compared to kind of like epic movie or disaster movie where there are like actors you can name in it, but not as big as this. But they are kind of like the stupid comedy films. You know the ones, this is probably the absolute worst out of all of them. I hate it. So god awfully stupid. And then Theatre Camp. Once again, bad. It was so boring. There's a song right at the end which I thought, oh, that's kind of cute. That's what puts it up a little bit. I like some of the people in it. Io Debris. Funny. Wasn't enough of her. I'll put it above the two documentaries. I'm more likely to watch that than the other two. And then Anyone But You, which kind of started off my apparent Glen Powell watchathon that I had this month. This was a great film. I'll put it, yeah, just behind the new look. It was a great film. Glen Powell, Sydney Sweeney, generic rom-com, a lot of funny scenes. Alexandra Shipp was in this, quite surprising to me. Good comedy, fun scenes. I watched it, my mum and two sisters, and my mum was absolutely howling during one scene. She thought it was so funny, and when you have good company watching with a film, it becomes a better experience. Even though the experience just watching the film was good. I had fun. And then the second film I watched in cinema, Inside Out 2. Similar experience to watching the first Inside Out. Different experience to watching Anyone But You. I thought this was a great film. Slightly behind the new look. We get some new emotions. The new emotions, the main one, anxiety, voiced by Maya Hawke. And she was a main player. I hadn't seen any of the trailers really for this film, and so I didn't know how much of a role anxiety was going to play in this. She kind of takes the forefront. Obviously joy is still there, some of the other emotions that we already had still there, but we kind of, you know, we have a lot of focus on anxiety in this film because poor Riley is going through puberty. There's one scene, kind of like the Bing Bong scene, but this didn't hit as much as that would have, but it made my heart race. It made me teary-eyed. There was a few moments, a few lines that did make me teary-eyed. Woo! Pixar man, you're gonna make me cry, aren't you? Anything you do, you're gonna make me cry. And then we got Twisters, which also surprisingly got me kind of a little teary-eyed because it was just so intense. Every time there was a new tornado and like you just see the destruction or you see the fear, like, oh my god, that's a tornado. I was like, oh my god, this is real life. Like, this happens to people in real life. Tornadoes. So scary. The level of destruction. So sad. The film was really good. great even. I'm putting it above Coda. Apologies to Coda. Apologies. You're good on the emotional level. Twisters is just a fun ride. Yes, I'm going to shout out Glenn Powell because that's the second film I watched this month with him in it. Wasn't planned. But Daisy Edgar Jones, you were a great lead. There was something that happens like at the end of the film in the third act where she takes the lead, and I really enjoyed it. You know, it was a great thrill ride. The laughs, the emotion from seeing the tornadoes. Good score. And just fun, like, kind of disaster film. I hadn't seen the original Twister. I've just seen Twisters. If they do a Twisters, the third film, I would enjoy it because this was a fun one. And then I watched the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. And yes, this film is as long as its title. Not to say I was bored, just that it was a bloody long film. I thought it was good. I'll put it just in front of Luke. Surprising again, Glenn Powell. Didn't know he was in this till he showed up on the screen. This is again another war film. It follows Lily James's character, who's a writer, and she hears about this book club, the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society, that they formed when Nazi occupation, like those Nazis where they live in Guernsey, and a group of friends got caught doing something they shouldn't have, a gathering of a dinner party, not allowed, and so they come up with this idea like, no, they were doing a book club. And then it's just kind of like each different character, you feel a little bit of their story, how they connect, how they're friends, what ties them all together, and then it's just Lily James like hearing these stories. I thought it was quite good. And then quickly I rewatched the first Descendants films. I think all of these films are great. I'm a sucker for Disney Channel original movies, and so because of that, where am I going to put them? I think they're all good. They're all just going all here. Do I have a favourite out of these three? It goes back and forth. It really does. And it's down to the songs, how I'm feeling with the songs. The stories are okay, they're there. The first one probably has the best story. But I rewatched all those three because I watched the new one. Descendants, The Rise of Red. I don't know if it is a full film in this story or if it's kind of a spin-off. I thought it was good. It wasn't bad. I'll probably put it at the front of good. It's just nowhere near on the level of the first original Descendants because we don't have our main four. Uma is still there from the original three, but she's like there right at the beginning, and then I don't even know if she shows up right in the end. Also, I already mentioned the story is secondary to the music, but it still had a story. Descendants 4, The Rise of Red, didn't have a story. There was a story, but there was no end. There was no end. Where it ended, or like just before where it ended, should have been like halfway through the film. Because there's something that happens which has been, like, they're setting up to something. They don't show that something, and then the film just ends. And because the film just ends, it feels like there's no conclusion. But then it's also not a big dance number and song at the end of the film like the other three had to like conclude the film and like possibly set up the next film with a whole... You didn't think that was the end of the story, did you? I don't know. I can't remember if there was that. And then Deadpool, which had a story. And it had a interesting storytelling technique, you know. It was non-linear, and we kept like flashing forwards and backwards between kind of like a fight scene and then the whole story before then till we got to that fight scene, and I thought that was really fun and creative. I do have a movie reaction for this. It's copyright at the moment. Trying to fix that so I can get it up. You'll know more of my thoughts then, but I did enjoy this film and I thought it was funny. We'll put it right at the top of good. And that is everything that I watched in July. So many things, so many things. There wasn't a lot of videos that was uploaded to my channel in July. Trying to rectify that for August. The next one will be Deadpool if I can clear that copyright. And then I'll be finishing Bridgerton with season 3. And we'll get back to more X-Men films to finish that off before Deadpool and Wolverine. Here it's fun, here it's good, so hopefully I'll be up to date to watch that. You can check out the rest of my X-Men reactions in a playlist up here whilst you wait for the one for Deadpool. But thanks for watching this. If you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe for more. Let me know what I missed that came out in July, or previous months in 2024, or just any film or show that I haven't checked out yet. Let me know if it's any good and that I should, and what your favourite thing that you watched this month was. Thanks for watching. Bye.